Hello. Good evening and welcome to Sachem's The Candidates Forum. Thank you for joining us tonight. My name is Maria Sanders. I'm the current Sachem PTA Council President. Joining us tonight from Suffolk Region PTA is Lori Hernandez Malemo, who will be moderating, and Michelle Labola, our timekeeper. I'm going to turn it over to them.
Good evening and welcome to Sachem School District's Meet the Candidate Night. I'm Lori Hernandez Malemo from Suffolk Region PTA, and I will be tonight's moderator. Also from Suffolk Region PTA, we have Michelle Labola, and she will be keeping time. Before we begin, let's start with the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I would like to take a moment to go over the process that will take place tonight. All questions were submitted by the members of the community to the Suffolk Region PTA. As moderator, the specific questions and order in which they are asked is at my discretion. I reviewed them all in advance, and any modifying or editing to make similar questions to avoid redundancy. No additional questions will be allowed tonight. Oh, if you have another question, you can bring that up. That's a typo. Our candidates tonight are, and please, if I botch anybody's name, I apologize, Joe Baruso, Dennis Buckstein, Tony Garcia, Stephen Galaris, Paul Sapienza, Jessica Cedric, Jessica Schreck, and Meredith Volpe. Just to go over the guidelines for everyone's information. These are the guidelines that must be followed. No letters or statements by absent candidates will be read. Only the candidates present may speak. We ask that the audience hold its applause until the end in order for moderators to ask as many questions as possible. There is a moderator and a timekeeper from Suffolk Region PTA. Each candidate will be allowed 3 minutes to make a presenting statement and qualifications and reasons for running. When the 3 minutes are up, the timekeeper will ring a bell to signify that the sentence must be completed. Bell? All questions will be written on index cards, reviewed and selected by the moderator. We kind of went over that already, so I'm going to skip that paragraph. Each candidate will be given the opportunity to answer each question for 1 minute. When the minute is up, the timekeeper will ring a bell indicating the candidate must finish their sentence. No rebuttals will be allowed during the question and answer period. Each candidate will be allowed 2 minutes to make a closing statement after the last question has been answered. At this time, the candidates may make any rebuttals they deem necessary. The length of the program will be determined by the moderator prior to the beginning of the evening. So we're going to ask questions for about 1 hour. The last question will be asked at about 8:15 p.m. Presentations will be in alphabetical order. That's your opening statements. Closing statements will go in reverse alphabetical order. No literature may be given out at this meeting by the candidate or any of their supporters, and the moderator reserves the right to end the program at any time if they deem it necessary. So we'll start with our, is everyone okay if I go by first names? Yeah. Okay. Joe, we're going to start with you. Yep. Joe, you can start your opening statement.
Welcome. Thank you for coming tonight. My name is Joe Baruso. I've been a Sachem resident for over 30 years. I graduated from Sachem North in 1973. I have 2 children that graduated from North, and now I have 3 grandchildren attending this school district. One is in North. She's a JV cheer. 2 in Nokomis. 1 receives IEP. The little guy, good luck with him. He's in kindergarten. Whoops. I've worked for the district for 20 years, and I was also UPSU president for about 13 years. I worked in East and Hiawatha. If nobody knows what UPSU is, it's the people who are the backbone of the school district, your cooks, lunch ladies, drivers, custodial, maintenance, security, grounds. They keep the buildings running. I feel I have a lot to offer by being in the district so long and working in these buildings. And as being the president of the union, I've dealt with just about all of the administrators over the years. I just feel like the district is starting to go in the wrong direction, and something should be done about it. And I feel, with my knowledge inside the buildings and with the knowledge of dealing with the administrators, I think I can make a difference in this. Thank you.
Dennis?
Good evening. Thank you, PTA. Thank you, everybody, for coming. And my name is Dennis Buxley. I'm here today to introduce myself and explain to everybody why I am running for the School Board of Ed. My roots run very deep in this community, spanning 50 years. It's not just where I live. It's where everything for me began and still continues to unfold. My connection to Sachem is profoundly personal. My wife, alongside our combined 6 siblings, are all proud graduates. Our family has flourished here, growing over 20 members who still call Sachem home today. This includes my 4 children. Dennis, a 2014 graduate who now teaches math in Southampton. Brenna, a 2020 graduate who is soon to be a physician's assistant in August. Cameron, Kendall, who both are on the Sachem East cheer team. Cameron is in 10th grade at Sachem East. Kendall is in 8th grade at Sagamore. Sorry, she was at Seneca for a year. They both participate in other extracurriculars, chorus. Cameron also plays softball. Kendall runs track. Further cementing my family's commitment to Sachem, my mother-in-law is an aide at Samoset. I have 2 nieces graduating this year, one from North, one from East. And my son's fiance is a soccer coach at Sachem North. This July, my wife, Carrie, who I met in Sachem North, will be celebrating our 30 years of marriage. Professionally, I manage the development and construction for a communications company. I manage projects across New York Metro area, including Long Island and parts of New York City. This role demands strong negotiation skills, legal acumen, team management, and most crucially, budget oversight. These skills are directly transferable to the responsibilities of School Board of Ed trustee. If elected, I pledge to bring to the board great communication skills, ensuring transparent and open dialogue for all the community, decisive action, making necessary decisions promptly rather than delaying important matters, a proactive, not a reactive approach, budgetary expertise, leveraging my financial management experience to navigate the district's fiscal challenges, innovative thinking, introducing new ideas, think outside the box mentality to drive positive change. I'm committed to serving our students, our families, and our community, and I believe in the potential of Sachem. I'm eager to contribute to their continued success. Thank you.
Oh, Steve?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to introduce myself and share my vision for the Sachem schools. My name is Stephen Galaris. I'm proud to be both a Sachem parent. My children are in 5th and 2nd grade at Merrimack Elementary. I'm an active member of our community, along with my family's involvement in various extracurricular activities, from youth soccer and baseball, which I apologize for my wardrobe. I just ran off the baseball field, pitching in the rain to get here. We have partaken in martial arts, dance. I've had the privilege of serving as a volunteer, coach, and supporter throughout numerous community programs. Reflecting on what should guide our district, I believe several core values are essential. Academic excellence must be at the forefront, ensuring our students receive a challenging curriculum that sparks curiosity, creativity, and a lifelong love of learning. Equally important is supporting the physical and mental well-being of every student and encouraging healthy lifestyles and raising awareness about mental health. Above all, I value collaboration. It takes all of us working together, from families to staff to community members, to create a positive, nurturing environment where every child can thrive. Looking ahead, I see 3 goals for our school board. First, we must be diligent and transparent with our finances, making responsible choices that both support quality education and honor the community's resources. Second, we must constantly improve our academic programs, keeping our curriculum current and ensuring every student, from those needing support to those seeking enrichment, has opportunities to excel. Third, let's move beyond business as usual by embracing innovation, finding creative solutions, and making the best use of our district's resources to enhance the educational experience. Sachem schools are more than just classrooms. They are the heart of our community, providing opportunities for learning, personal growth, and connection. By building strong partnerships, fostering open communication, and making our schools welcoming spaces for all, we can continue to make our district a true community hub. It would be an honor to serve on the school board and to help make thoughtful, transparent decisions that shape the future of our schools. I'm committed to what is best for our students, educators, families, and the entire Sachem community. Thank you for your time. I look forward to working together with you all to build an even brighter future for our schools.
Tony?
Thank you very much. My name is Tony Garcia. As you know, I'm running for the school board. I want to start by thanking each and every one here and each and every person on the camera and the PTA and, quite frankly, my other candidates here. I remember a couple of months ago when there was almost no one running, and to see the excitement and the energy from the community and from my fellow candidates on how to make things better, I think it's fantastic. So, who am I? I moved here about 12 years ago with my wife. We decided we wanted to start a family, and we didn't want to do it in the city. I didn't know if I wanted a 2-hour commute or not. But we got here and we found we liked the community. Then we bought our house and we got to our local elementary school and we met all these great families and we made some of the strongest friendships that I've made in years. And I said, this is fantastic. And then over the years, I've been listening to going to board meetings from time to time, listening to things that are going on, issues going on with our budget. And I kept thinking about how can I give back to my community? I've given back other places. I was on the board of the Insurance Industry Charitable Foundation Associate Board in that city. But I work in commercial insurance, broking insurance, underwriting insurance. I know it doesn't sound thrilling, but the main point is that I spend all of my time looking at a budget. We are currently in this fiscal crisis that we're in. But this school district is fantastic. Where I grew up, we had none of the things that students here have. And so the things that I would say to you are that I think what we really need and which I stand for is transparency. And I don't just mean transparency when we have conversations, but when issues come up. When we have an 8-page agenda and only 3 words on that agenda take up most of the hour and 5-minute meetings, I don't think we're being clear enough. And I think that we all can do better. This is a thankless job. I know I don't explain it to Meredith, but I really think that we have the opportunity to provide an outstanding education that will allow our children to find the thing that really feeds them. Whether they want to go to college, whether they want to learn a trade, whether they want to start a business, whatever that is, our responsibility is for our schools to expose them to as many things as possible so that they can find that thing that will enrich them. And so now I'm almost out of time, I'm sure, and I would like to thank all of you one more time. Transparency, fiscal responsibility, short, medium, long-term planning, and regular updating, monthly, quarterly. And I'm out. Thank you very much for your time.
Hello. Oh, wrong button. Sorry. Hi, my name is Paul Sapienza, and obviously I'm running for the Sachem School Board. I moved my family here from Queens 21 years ago, enrolled my children in Sachem. Matter of fact, Sachem was one of the primary reasons why we chose to settle in this area. We began looking in Nassau and gradually moved to Suffolk, but each time checking the school districts. And when we got to this area, we were very satisfied. What we saw is the quality of the education. Throughout my life, whether it be professional or personal, I've always been a strong advocate on behalf of whoever, whether it be a coworker, a member, anyone that I have contact with, that I'm involved with. I am a strong advocate. Not a lawyer, but I am an advocate. I spent 42 years at the phone company, 38 of those as a full-time union representative. During that tenure, I probably secured personally, on behalf of my members, anywhere in the neighborhood of $3 to $4 million in settlements, both in benefits and wages. In my personal life, when I was in Queens and when I first bought my first home, I said to my wife, I have to get more involved in the community. I joined my local community board. As a member of that community board, much like the school board, it's a voluntary position. I advocated for my neighbors. Both as chair of one of the committees and ultimately chair of the board, I was able to secure a couple of successes. One was the preservation of the homes in the area and increase in their value. And the other one is accomplishing the train to the plane that gets you to JFK Airport. I was very proud of those couple of things. So I've always been a strong advocate. As I said, we moved out here. My children attended Sachem North, Hiawatha, and Seneca. They all graduated from Sachem North, and I have since retired. One of my daughters has given me one grandson who's 2 years old. Another one's on the way. And I said, you know what? Grandpa's got time on his hands. I got something I can do. I could join the school board and I can try to use my talents to advocate for these kids. And that's why I got involved, and that's why I'm here. So I thank you all for your participation and showing an interest. And to those at home, I look for your support, and I hope to be sitting on the board. Thank you very much.
Jessica? Hello. I'm a Sachem alumni and mother of 2 elementary-aged children in the district. They're in 3rd and 5th grade at Grundy. I have about 34 years total living in the Sachem community. I did leave for a few years to go to Nassau, but I came back to be around my family and for Sachem. My husband's a Sachem alumni. My family are dozens of Sachem alumni. My dad's one of 5. We have a very big family. Thanks to my excellent foundation at Sachem, I progressed to have several advanced degrees and credentials in healthcare and have worked for institutions like Cornell and NYU. I have years of experience working with unions, managing contracts, budgets, capital projects, research, and grant writing. I currently have served 2 years on the Grundy PTA board and 5 years as a PTA chair. I'm a proud Girl Scout troop leader and love being involved and helping where I can. From an early age, volunteering has been a predominant part of my life. From helping in Good Shepherd's Church basement to bottle feeding kittens in college, I keep myself very busy. My passion for giving back has been a driving force in everything I do, and I'm eager to expand and have a larger outlet to help the children and families in our district. My focus in my current role as PTA Vice President has been helping combat food insecurity in our local communities. I've championed Grundy's Giving Garden, which now donates over 300 pounds to local food pantries. I've had the pleasure of working with many Sachem staff, educators, facilities, custodians to get that going. In my most recent endeavors of grant writing, I've helped to secure 2 grants that have given the district a hydroponic tower and a large greenhouse. I come from a close-knit family, and again, they're all still residing in Sachem. I am deeply committed to ensuring all Sachem students, regardless of their background, are provided with the safe, high-quality education I had in order to have a strong foundation for future life successes. I've attended many Board of Ed meetings in person, online, and I know it's not an easy position, and hard decisions have to be made, and you can't always please everyone. But I could promise that I will work to do the best job possible. I will always hear, respect, and value all opinions, regardless if they're different from my own. I will advocate to be proactive and engage all vested individuals in our amazing community. Researching, collaborating with others, and anticipating and solving problems is ingrained to my day-to-day life, both personally and professionally. I've spent many hours researching what it takes to be a great trustee. I've reached out to current trustees who've shared their time and wisdom with me, and it's not a decision I took on lightly. I feel that my professional experience and personal drive to help my community will make me an asset. I'm an open-minded and collaborative problem solver and look forward to dedicating my time to proactively tackling district issues with integrity and transparency. Thank you.
As we begin the question portion, oh, sorry, Meredith?
For those of you who don't know me, my name is Meredith Volpe. I'm currently serving my 6th year on the Board of Ed. I would like to start by apologizing for my appearance and my attire today. It was move out day for my youngest at college in Connecticut. I got off the ferry with just enough time to get here and no time to go home and change. I have 3 Sachem grads, 2022, 2024, and 2013. My husband is a 1988 Sachem grad, and as they say, you either are born here and stay or you marry in. I was not going to run this year. At the last minute on Friday, someone dropped out, which meant everything had to be redone. The petitions reopened, which almost felt to me like it was a sign that my work here was not done. If you've seen me in the past 6 years, whether you like me or not, there are plenty of people on both sides of that. One thing that even my haters can't deny is that I truly am in this for the children. I grew up in Baldwin, never thinking that I could love any place as much as I loved Baldwin, never thinking I'd be anything but a Bruin at heart. And I will tell you, I have now lived in Sachem more years than I lived in Baldwin. I truly bleed red, black, and gold, and I am an arrow through and through. I never graduated high school. That's a story for another day. But the reason I fight as hard as I do is because I want to see every child succeed. I want every child to feel that they can see this thing through from kindergarten to graduation day in 12th grade. I want to make Sachem a place that every child wants to be a part of, a district where every single child can find something that they can be excited about. I want to make sure that every child feels that they need to come to school every day, that they want to come to school every day, and that nobody follows in my footsteps and drops out of high school. I may not always have the right things to say, and seldom am I polished. For some, I speak a little too honestly and frankly, but for me, there is no other way. I unapologetically wear my heart on my sleeve, and I will always fight for the children of Sachem while continuing to keep the staff and the taxpayers in mind. I appreciate your time, whether you're here in person or you're watching from home. Thank you to the PTA for their tireless work to put this event on. Thank you to my fellow candidates for stepping up. I know firsthand it's not easy to put yourself out there. It takes a lot of hard work and, very frankly, money out of your own pocket to run for the Board of Ed. There are 3 open seats and 8 candidates, so that means more than half of us will go home not having a seat. So I appreciate the effort that each of you are putting in to make our district a better place for all stakeholders. Thank you.
As we enter the question asking portion of the evening, I'm going to ask that we please hold our applause. I'll be able to get more questions in if we're not pausing for that, okay? Thank you very much. We're going to start with you, Joe. Many candidates speak about a 5-year plan. What would you like to see in the next 5 years?
Budget that works. More. Stop cutting things for children. All contracts should be looked at. Outside contracts should be looked at. Because if you do it inside the building with your own people, it's a lot cheaper. It saves money on your budget. And just to stop closing schools. There's got to be another way. That's my 5-year plan.
Dennis?
So a 5-year plan is it's great, and I wish I could say I had a 5-year plan,
Yeah,
but
I wish I
unfortunately,
had.
from year to year, we don't know the money we get from the state. So we can make a 5-year plan, and if they slash us by 50% of the money next year, a lot of that goes out the window. So we do have to do things proactively and look towards our future. So in other words, obviously closing of schools has been a hot topic here. So before we do that, I think the current board did the right thing. You know, we brought a demographer in. We're going to start looking at things. Some of the things maybe we could have done better. maybe we could have an educational plan first put forward. We don't know. Are you looking to put kindergarten, first and second grade together, third, fourth, fifth, ninth, 10th, 11th? I don't even know what our educational plan is, yet we talk about already closing things and knee-jerk reactions where I just want to see it all planned out and get the community's involvement. I want the community there, sitting with us, talking about it. Let's do it in July, not in February. Let's get them all in. Let's have those conversations. I know they're not always pleasant, but you know, it'll be everybody together, and at least then we can prepare them for whatever the decision we decide to make is. Thank you.
Stephen?
I'd love to see a 5-year plan. We'd love to all see one. I think we'd love to see a month plan from the board in this past. We've been battling uphill. We don't know which direction to go. We're constantly cutting and looking to save money. I think for starters, I know you all got this in the mail or something today like it. I can't even see that with my reading glasses on, okay? Neighboring districts have what you need to see in your budget. You can read it from across the room. We need to do better. Our plan should be a 5-year goal. We should be able to forecast. I understand we don't need state money to do that forecast. You can forecast everything but the state money, and you can almost give yourself an adjustment to say, okay, we should be right around here. We can forecast. We should be sending out a budget for a year, 2, 3, 4, 5 years along the way. Hey, this is what our budget looks like this year. Next year, it's going to look like this if we pass it.
Tony?
Thank you. So I don't have, I will say this to you. I would love to have a 5-year plan. I know the elements in it that I would like to see. I know I need a lot of help figuring out what I don't know. But I will say this to you, that in my work, we do short, medium, and long-term planning. We update our budgets weekly. I'm talking to my superiors regularly. We update monthly. We update quarterly. And changes happen. You find out you're suddenly 50% behind. You have to figure out where that money's going to come from. You have to figure out where you're going to move things around. I would say that I want to see a SACHM where instead of talking about, unfortunately, as we have been, cuts, I want to be talking about a SACHM that is once again saying, wait, what do our kids want? Well, yeah, how many of them do we have? All right, how do we put that club together? About continuing to option more and greater opportunities for our kids to discover things. Thank you very much.
Paul?
Hi. I don't have a specific 5-year plan. When I ran for this, I had some goals in mind of what I thought would be a change that might benefit the students. I don't have any derogatory things to say about the efforts of others. I'm just thinking about what I would want to do going forward. One of them is a greater exposure to what maybe people refer to as the trades, the old shop classes and so forth. I think those things can be valuable in giving somebody an opportunity to understand whether they wish to pursue college or trade type of school where they could work with their hands if that's what they want to do. A college trajectory isn't for everyone. Outside revenue, perhaps available to the schools. I understand the school board can't advocate it, but the local schools can, perhaps getting sponsorships from local businesses to buy equipment for the equipment teams, to sponsor the clubs. Thank you.
Jessica?
So I think the district has a lot of things that we need to focus on the next few years, but first and foremost, it's really our budgets has to be repaired. I think we inherited a lot of financial poor decisions in the past that we're still feeling the effects of. So I think really advocating at the state and federal level for funding, looking at additional funding resources, revenue streams, being proactive and not reactive, and mostly being thoughtful in the information that we put out in the community. If we're going to change something or do something different, there needs to be a comprehensive plan. I do believe there's a lot of change that needs to happen, and then community members need to be engaged, and all stakeholders should have a seat at the table.
Meredith?
So, as the second largest school district on Long Island, I feel that instead of just having 9 people up at this dais every year advocating, I feel like I would love for the community to advocate. I'd love to see our community get involved, and instead of focusing on what this district can do better, because we do a lot of things really well, and 80% of the budget cannot be touched. But we should find a way to make life on Long Island for everyone better by going up to the state and taking everything to the state level. Sachem's a great place to raise your family, and unfortunately, a lot of what's going on right now has been inherited to us, and if we advocate to the state, it might be better. A lot of our money gets taken out of our pockets and goes elsewhere in this state, and if we could put a stop to that in some way, maybe we wouldn't need to keep closing schools because across Long Island, not just Sachem, because maybe people would be able to afford to have children and live here.
Question 2, we're going to start with Dennis this time. Given the recent budget expense deficit and subsequent staffing cuts, what strategies would you implement to ensure fiscal stability while minimizing impacts on our student programs and services?
So similarly, this is the same kind of question that we just kind of asked, which is without a 5-year, it's a 1-year plan. We want to keep as much as we can for the kids. We have AP, we have education, and safety is our number one concern. So safety is number 1, education 2, and 3 would be the extracurriculars. That's what a lot of people care about when it comes down to voting. Hey, we're going to cut something. We get 700 people in the room. So what we need to do is figure out how to keep all these programs, and maybe we have to look at some of the administration, some of the money that's being spent up at the top. Maybe we need to look at how many principals, vice principals, assistant principals, however you want to say it, to see if everyone has the right amount of people in their rooms, buildings, and the right amount of kids. We want to keep those class sizes at a manageable number.
Stephen?
I think, as we talked about, yes, we're going to get it down to a 1-year plan to answer this question. The first thing and foremost to look at how we're going to budget, save money, do anything, because it should be all about the kids. Everything we do should be for the kids. The teachers are there for the kids. The administrators are there for the kids. The staff, the faculty are there for the kids. The easiest thing to do, in my opinion, would be to redistrict the lines, look and see how we can combine the schools, make sure all the classrooms have equal students in them, and go from there to prepare a budget that can work for the community. We can also look to generate revenue by using our assets, our stages, our fields, our pools, and renting them out to supplement an income instead of always cutting money because we don't have it. Let's look to make some money.
Tony?
Thank you. The issue with 1 year is we're in the situation we're in right now. We have a budget that we have to vote on in a week, and it is the budget we have. But I will say this, that at the end of the day, my priorities are people, kids, faculty, and staff. And the board, as we sometimes forget, are employees of the community. Volunteer employees, but employees. So it's our responsibility to figure out how to put that plan together while trying not to negatively impact lives, whether that's taking things away from children, but it's about adding things. And it's about making sure that we have things like ratio of teachers to students as low as possible. But I think the main thing we need to do is remember that any plan, whether it's 1 year, 3 year, 5 years, you have to have alternatives. You have to have best case and worst case scenarios. You have to have alternative plans for each of those. Thank you very much.
Paul?
Hi. As I said in part of my last answer, was that looking for outside financing, whether it be sponsorships from businesses and so forth, to support the clubs and so forth, should try to help take some pressure off the budget on other ends. I do know there are categories of things, but I don't want to see things like clubs or sports get trimmed till they're gone that doesn't help the student's education. We want to preserve those things. And you have to be mindful whenever you look at a budget. You can cut, or you can spend and spend and spend. But the problem is that if you've ever been in business, what you find is in November, December, everybody's having office Christmas parties they're buying pizza for lunch and doing, why? Because if you don't spend what's in your budget, you lose it. Okay, that's the bottom line. So you have to accept that if you're going to trim, it's to support those areas that need to be supported. You have to figure new ways, inventive ways to do it. And I would support renting facilities and generating extra revenue, but to keep what we have and expand on it. Thank you.
Jessica?
So I think some of the immediate things that we could do as a district is really is some questions that I have with my professional experiences. Our bid processors, a bid process for vendors, their contracts, our capital projects, see if there's any opportunity to save money there. Again, advocacy at the state and federal level, I think, is paramount because a lot of our funds are dictated through those policies. Looking at ways to improve our revenue or lease revenues and ways to get rid of or sell vacant buildings that are not being utilized. Small classes should be the priority. I think, external funding sources should be explored. Other districts were able to keep the Northwell mental health program through a grant. That's something that we didn't try for. So I think there's opportunity to really look outside of the box and how to improve our situation to keep as many extras for our kids as possible.
Meredith?
Unfortunately, when I have 6 years on the board, I can tell you, I was really optimistic getting into the board. And after having 6 years, you kind of realize that things don't happen here the way they happen in the private sector. So you can't always bring in outside companies to raise funds and things like that. There's lots of different things that I have brought up and been shot down, and not because somebody doesn't think it's a great idea, but because there's lots of rules and regulations. Another huge problem is unfunded mandates. There's a lot that comes down from the Albany that tells us we have to, with no money to support that. So unfortunately, with 80% of the budget fixed, we can't touch it. And then 20% supposed to go to the children, but much of it goes to unfunded mandates. The only thing you can do is, again, I'm going to sound like a broken record, continue to advocate. And if we could have the entire community coming together, I think we would start to be heard.
Joe?
It's time to start from the top. We have less students, enrollment's going down. What is the need for all these administrators? It doesn't make sense. It's time to take a look at that. Stop cutting things for children.
Question number 3. We're going to start with you, Stephen. Do you have suggestions on which schools need to close, elementary, high school, or middle, or a combination? And how would you contribute to the evaluation of the buildings and facilities?
So I believe if we have to close a school, we should follow our policies and procedures that are in place, whatever they may be. I honestly think one thing should be first to redistrict. Second, you look at where your capital improvements are, where they've been spent, what buildings have been spent on, what are up to the future. Where can we save money the most based on those capital improvements? As far as the facilities go, you look at and you say, okay, look at our school properties. I know we have a lot of school properties that we still have gate lots sitting there. Let's sell it off. Let's start being proactive. Let's collect our money for the central district that's sitting there right now, vacant across from meat farms. Let's get proactive to collect our money before we worry about cutting schools. But if we have to, follow the policies and procedures, and let's do it the right way and figure it out a year or two in advance, not a month.
Tony?
Thank you. I don't like talking about closing schools. I have no desire to talk about closing schools. But I will say this, that one of my goals, if I'm lucky enough to be on the school board for however long I can, is I think that a lot of the things we do need a more strict framework. And I'll give you an example. When the discussion of closing schools came up, there came up the Rule 7800, and there was a lot about that people didn't like, and the board had to react at the last moment without not having all the information. I think that all of those policies need to be set in stone so that they're there for the board to depend on. For instance, if we think in our projections, because board members should be thinking about the future, the administration and faculty is dealing with today, we should have, okay, we believe because of the projections we see of time coming, of people coming down, we might need to close a school. What are the four most likely? Now, when do we do walkthroughs? At 24 months, we do a walkthrough. At 12 months, we do, etc.
Paul?
Yeah, I think it's a complex issue. I am not in the favor of shedding any asset. If you have to look at, there's a reason for closing a particular school, maybe because of shrinking population or whatever, but you don't shed the asset. You find another way to use it. I'll give an example. In my professional life, we had expanded from one location to another because we were growing. And during the following period, we began to shrink. And our costs were increasing, but we had less use of the facility. I was an advocate to lease out some portion of the building to generate revenue so that we could maintain our presence. And one person in particular who's had some influence with those others on the issue said, I don't want to be a landlord. All right, didn't become a landlord. And what happened? We eventually had to sell the building and had to move into very cramped basement quarters somewhere else. So I don't think you sell your assets. I think you find a way to maximize their revenue generation, and that could be used to support the schools that do stay open for school services. Thank you.
Jessica?
So I think last year when we voted no to pierce the cap, that those conversations about redistricting and the plans for Sachem should have started then. Removing the committee and then announcing a school closure was very divisive for the community. I think that any redistricting we do, which I am in favor, I do think is inevitable, it should be done looking at the statistics that affect academics, not just census kids per block. It needs to be done thoughtfully and correctly. We need to take into account factors that affect education, like IEPs, density of children that have ENL needs, 504s. We need to be looking at redistricting in a way that's thoughtful to what the community needs and what the academic standards we want to build and hold ourselves accountable to for Sachem.
Meredith?
So the reality and the truth is that an elementary and a middle school will need to close in the very near future. I don't agree with combining both high schools since they're there. I don't agree that we should have ever built east, and that's probably part of the reason why we're in the trouble that we're in now. But once you've given that identity to the children and once you've given all those opportunities to them, you do not take that away. I feel like if we close an elementary and a middle, it will have to be a complete redistricting. And once you've redistricted the entire community, you then decide which school will close. It has to be based on which school is the newest, which school has the best of whatever facilities they have, and which school can hold the most children. You don't just go by current enrollment. You go by what we're looking at for the future. And yes, I will be the first to admit I didn't proactively speak up when I should have. One of our other board members has been speaking like that.
Joe?
Unfortunately, I would say one of the high schools would have to be closed because if your enrollment keeps dropping the way it is, eventually it's going to happen anyway.
Dennis?
So again, I don't know what school needs to close, and that's not really my decision to pick that. That's what I think we're missing the point of policy 7800, which gets suspended so that we could just go past a vote, do what we want to do, and then go back on it. We need to be decisive. We need to make a decision that we're going to stand by, and we need to have that information ahead of time. That's why the demographer would have been good a year ago, which now we have it, which is great. Now we have to get that information, get information to him or her, what we're doing, what we want to do as an educational plan, and that person will tell us. I can't sit here and say a middle school and an elementary school have to close. I'm not in that position. I can't. What I could tell you is that someone else needs to make that decision. We need to make sure that we get them the information and then they get it to us. And our job is to get it to the community. Start a committee, start a couple committees. I know it's tough. I know people are screaming and yelling, not my school, not my school. But at some point, all that information has to get to the community and we need to hear them.
This question will start with Tony. Without the Department of Ed, protections like IDEA, FAPE, FERPA, and IEP oversight could disappear. How will you ensure a student's right to the services are maintained?
Well, I would say that I have no control over the federal government or what they choose to do. I do see, as we all do, the restructuring and changing and dismantling of certain things like the Department of Education. There's nothing we can really do about that. But I think that the answer is additional self-reliance. I'll give you an example. The money we have to borrow every year from a commercial bank and the interest we pay. Why do we not have a mechanism to have that money put away so that we can pay for it and save that money in interest? I think that there are a lot of things that we can do, but I'm just going to leave it there before I go over time again.
Paul?
Yeah, before I answer, I really have to ask you to read that question
Read that
again. I'm not
question
sure
one
I
more time.
understood exactly what you were asking.
Without the Department of Ed, protections like IDEA, FAPE, FERPA, and IEP oversight could disappear. How will you ensure students' rights to these services are maintained?
I must confess, I'm not familiar with a lot of those acronyms. I don't really have an answer for you on those specific items. For me to answer would be making one up. I don't know what they stand for. You explain it to me and I'd be happy to address it.
Jessica?
So I'm actually glad this question was asked because I was not familiar prior to this evening, but somebody in the community had asked me my opinions and I did my due diligence to research. Federal changes do concern me as a parent of 2 children with ADHD and 1 with an IEP. And I am concerned how we will fare this as a district, but if we position ourselves better financially, we can exceed the federal and state minimums or lack of now. We need to create our own clear standard and benchmark of what we want for academics here in Sachem. And once we do that, I think that we shouldn't have to rely so much on external driving forces. We need to be unwavering in holding our own standards, and our standards can exceed and should exceed what the minimum requirements are for our children.
Meredith?
As a mother of 2 special ed students, I can tell you that Sachem does a really good job already with special ed. We fight harder than most districts for our children, and many people move into our district to take advantage of that. I feel like whether there is federal, state ed department or not, I think that Sachem will do its best. And I think by dismantling the federal state ed, what they're doing is putting more power into the local districts and into the state. And while the state scares me a little, having full confidence in our district to take care of our special ed needs.
Joe?
This is up to the community, the school district, and the board members to keep it above their mandates, I guess you would say. You know, Sachem has an excellent special ed program that I know, and I could not foresee us having a problem with any of that.
Dennis?
So since I'm last year, I think, right, or Steve, everybody kind of hit a lot of those on the head. We don't know financially, we have to support the kids. I know we talk about IEPs and special ed, and definitely, but it's all the kids in general. They all need to be supported. And if they pull this money away, we need to find another way to generate money. And I don't know if our district does it. I know in other districts you could pay money and you could actually send your kid to that school. And that's what maybe we need to push out there more and try to get. I know we have a school here that we run ourselves, and we should be able to maybe try to get more kids into that school, pull kids back into Sachem, and that'll help us with tax-paying money as well.
Believe it or not, I look at it as a good thing. Taking the power out of the federal government, giving it to the states and giving it to the districts and giving it to us, that we know what's best to do for our community. We just need to, as a community, figure out what is best for our community. That's what these meetings are for. We don't need state or federal governments telling us how to raise our kids. We need to do that as a community, and we need to say, we need these programs in place. We need to take care of, forget the minimums. We should never shoot for the minimums that the government gives us. We should try to blow them out of the water. We can do better. We just need to come together, look at it, and come up with a plan to do better.
Okay.
Is it possible that I could reclaim some of the unused time that I had?
No, unfortunately.
All right,
no.
no problem. Thank you.
You do have at the end, you have your final comments. This one, we're going to start with Paul. We live in a digital world with keyboard warriors and misinformation. How will you keep the Sachem families informed and involved during these major federal education shifts and make sure that there's truth and transparency out to the community?
Well, I would think that there needs to be prompt, timely communication with the parents, much like you'll put out a blurb that there's a snow day and we're not coming to school on a particular day. If something that is impacting the children are going to happen as a result of action of the federal government, whether it's to continue a program or to end it or require it as a mandate or leaving it up to the school, I think a blurb should go out immediately, whether it be text or a voice message. People can sign up for these things. It's very available, and I think we should be prepared to communicate on a regular basis. I don't see any reason why you have to wait for a quarterly newsletter to inform people. If something is important and it needs their immediate attention, whether it's going to be brought up at the next board meeting or it's something that you should research because this is important, there's nothing wrong with an immediate blurb going out to the parents, just like any other emergency notification.
Jessica?
So I think it's really important to expand on any opportunities to engage and communicate with families. I do not think Sachem Moms is the forum to do that, but I do believe in the power of social media. Our district, most of their posts do not allow comments. So just a simple switch of allowing comments increases through the algorithm visibility. So there's an opportunity to have better visibility on things that we're doing for the district, both that negatively impact the district or even happy, exciting things. We're not getting that visibility. And I think that having as much accessibility for all families, so paper mailings, digital reach outs, things being translated if necessary, so everyone has an equal opportunity to understand what's going on in their district, and just really putting everything out there transparently and timely to the community.
Meredith?
So Sachem School District always puts out the truth. If the author of that question could tell us how to make the population listen to the school district instead of the noise that they see and the misinformation that they see out there, that would be great. But to be very honest with you, unfortunately, it's the nature of people these days. They're going to believe what they want to believe on the side that they're on the side of. They're not going to believe what the school district says. We can talk until we're blue in the face. We can host Board of Ed meetings that nobody attends and then complains that we're not transparent. But at the end of the day, Sachem does always put the truth out, and they're a very transparent district.
Joe?
What was the question? I'm sorry, what was the question?
Sure. We live in a digital world with keyboard warriors and misinformation. How will you keep Sachem families informed and involved during these major federal education shifts? And what are your comments for the community to ensure the truth and transparency? Or what are your commitments? Sorry.
First, I guess the board should be using the Sachem Moms Facebook to put out their information. That will stop all the little false things that everybody's talking about. And really, that's about it. Me, I am putting my email and my phone number out tomorrow. My daughter's putting it on Facebook for me and Sachem Moms. And I will answer any questions because I'm a little nervous up here, to be honest with you.
To be honest, Joe, me too.
Not like this.
Dennis?
So, I mean, I think Sachem doesn't lie to people. I don't think that's the case. I don't think anybody on our current board, I don't think anyone that served our board was there for reasons of lying. I mean, most of them had kids in the community. Some didn't, some stuck around. I think everybody cares, and it's a matter of how people care, and then how we get that information out, the factual information, not the opinionated information. So maybe like, digital world, you said that word, and that's what we live in, the digital world. So there does have to be like maybe at a board meeting, instead of people not being able to see the budget, we have to put it up on the board so people could actually see what you're looking at. Even when you're in here, sometimes it's tough to see. So just imagine at home, people can't see it. We have to get more information out that way to people because they're not going to come to the meetings. I mean, Meredith hit the nail on the head. Nobody comes till you tell somebody something's happening. Then 50 people, 100 people come.
Stephen?
I mean, it's exactly what everyone's up here saying. We just need to be transparent, timely, get the information out. I don't think anybody is lying to anybody. I think the disinformation just becomes from the comments out there. As Meredith said, the people are going to say what they want to say, whether they read what actually is the truth or not. We just have to keep supplying the truth and put it out the best way we can in a timely fashion.
This question, we're going to start with Jessica. Oh, sorry. Tony? Sorry.
All right. So first of all, I'm going to start with, I assume that anyone who has volunteered to do this job has the best of intentions and is making choices that they genuinely think are absolutely right. Because some of those decisions haven't worked out the way that we thought they would, that's life. Now, about how to communicate better, I mean, I agree with everyone here. I mean, social media is a clear part of it. But we have, and who's running this today, a very good partner in this, which is the PTA associations of each school. The board should be communicating very, very clearly to the board. Those PTA presidents and officers, they speak to one another all the time. They're constantly setting out newsletters. They're constantly posting online. We have Sachem Moms. We have Sachem Mom and Dads. We have all these different groups. And not only do we need to be communicating with them on them, we need to we have beautiful PowerPoint presentations without bullet points that clearly and cleanly explain the different components. Thank you very much.
Jessica, we're going to start this question with you. What are the positive or negative effects of DEI in a school setting?
I think that's a hard question to answer, but I'll do my best. I think that many different children and families in our district come from a lot of different backgrounds and face a lot of different barriers. And I think that should always be a consideration to meet all families and children where they are as far as what their learning needs are. I think as a district, we have a very diverse community, and I think that's something that should be celebrated. That's it.
That could be a loaded question for anybody who's pro or against. And to be very honest with you, the most positive thing that DEI encompasses is making everyone feel equal. But when you try to put things in place that that had the best intentions and then didn't always take flight the right way, you will end up with an enormous situation like I spiel that we have in our country right now. Putting people in positions, not because they're the most qualified, but because they check a box. And I told you in the beginning, I'm going to be deathly honest about everything. DEI is a very scary thing if it is taken out of context. However, inclusivity to every single child is what it should be. Take the titles off of it, include every child, and make every child feel that they are all equal.
Joe?
Working in the school district, never even noticed it. They're kids. I had a great time with all of them, loved them. And I don't believe in any of that. They're little kids, let them be. Let them be children.
Dennis?
So again, it's a tough question. Growing up in Sachem, we've definitely evolved. And in my current work, I work with a lot of different people, and there's positives and negatives. There could be, but that spins on how the person looks at it. So there's situations where half the room's going to say we agree with it, half the room's going to say we don't agree with it. So there really is no correct answer with DEI. There really isn't, except that, as Sachem, we have to treat everybody equally, fairly, the right shot. If somebody's going for a job, if somebody's looking to do something, it doesn't matter. Race, religion, creed, doesn't matter. We pick the best people for jobs and we move on.
Stephen?
It's definitely a difficult question to answer. There are pros and cons to it all the way around, and it's going to depend on how you look at it. You could look at equity. An elevator in a school is equity for a child that needs to get to a second floor. Is that a bad thing? No. I mean, we can go back and forth and have this conversation. I might like something, you might not like it, and vice versa, back and forth. But it is something we do need to talk about, and it is something that we have to overcome as a community together.
Tony?
I hate the acronym DEI, and I hate the phrase diversity, equity, and inclusion. And the reason I say that to you is because at this point, over these years, thousands of things have been put under that title, from the sublime to the absolutely ridiculous. So I will answer the question this way. I believe in fair play. I believe that the people of this community believes in fair play. And sorry, Steve, I'm going to comment. I'm going to reference something you did. We have always believed in the basic principles here in this community. Oh, well, you have mobility problems? Well, let's find an easier way for you to get in here. Oh, you need more. You can't hear. Let's get you some hearing assistance. Let's get that technology for you so that you have a fair playing ground. You have mobility problems, you probably can't play football, but there's no reason you should have a ticket, go in there and enjoy it. And that's inclusion. Thank you.
Paul?
Yeah, DEI is one of those items, diversity, equity, inclusion, that I completely support and endorse. What I don't like is the term DEI, because it's been turned into a code word to mean something completely different. When I was growing up, women that did well in the workforce, anything above the level of the first level supervisor, the comments were always, oh, who did she sleep with? I mean, nobody was given the opportunity to be considered for their worth. So the concept should be always used: diversity, equity, inclusion. Diversity it's reality. It's where we live. Equity, we all should have the fair shot to be equal. Inclusion, if you don't include the entire group in decision-making and having a voice, then you fail. Can you imagine if the school had a dance for the high school students and you knew that some students like hip hop, rock, pop, whatever it was, and you hired somebody and they came in with classical music? I'm sure everybody had a great time. So I'm sorry. Thank you very much.
We're going to start this question with Meredith. Given the alternatives such as charter schools, religious schools, homeschooling. Why is our public school system so important?
Because not everybody can afford to send their children to a private school. Not everybody wants their child at a charter school, which is just a big money-making scheme. Again, sorry, very honest. I believe that the public school system is the best place for everybody to come together. I have children, 3 children that are extremely different from one another. What one likes, the others don't. They have different needs, and especially being a special ed mom, you will not find special ed in any of those schools the way you find it in the public school situation. So we have to fight our hardest to keep the public schools going and keep the charter schools out.
Joe?
I guess that's where diversity comes in. The public schools give these children a chance to meet all types, all sorts, all religions, all colors. And that's what this community needs. This is how it should be. Everybody should be working together to make this community the best community there is. Thank you.
Dennis?
So charter schools, and I know this is my opinion, a lot of it has, when a charter school moves into a community, then the public school possibly has some issues. And that's why we need to clean all this up and make Sachem just as great as it's always been, and not let these schools in. And they're taking hundreds of thousands of dollars away from all of the people in the community. As far as Catholic school, it's different. If people have that money and they have that extra money, they are paying taxes in our school district still. We are getting that money. So if they want to send a kid to Catholic school, that is their option, and that's their money. They're paying for that. We're not as taxpayers. But charter schools, I don't want them in here. I don't like charter schools. We have Sachem. We don't need a charter school here.
Stephen?
I agree. I am definitely not in favor of the charter schools. I don't want to see one come into the Sachem district. What I will say, though, is Sachem schools are not just a classroom. They are our actual central community. That's where we grow as Sachem. We say we are Sachem. No one said that till they got to kindergarten. I mean, when you were playing in your backyard, at your house as your kid with your brother or sister, you weren't running around going, go Sachem. You didn't learn that till you actually got to the Sachem school district.
Tony?
Thank you. So charter schools and private schools or religious schools separately. If you are a parent who wants to have your child have an education that also has religion, et cetera, in it, in a private environment that you want to pay for out of your own money, then that is absolutely anyone's choice. You heard me say earlier, I came from a school district that had so little compared to what Sachem has. And the simple fact is the charter schools may have at one point been a good idea, but the simple fact is they take money away from public schools and they weaken our schools. The way you strengthen schools is by concentrating the funds so that it across all of our district for the good of all of our kids. Taking a chunk of that out, which will then turn into several of our schools having to cut things because suddenly a chunk of their budget is gone. It just doesn't make any sense. We have great facilities, we have pools, we have fields, we have all these events. You need to concentrate those funds. Thank you.
Paul?
Yeah, I'm totally opposed to the charter school concept. If you had 2 middle schools and they were both in the same school district getting public money, and you said to one school, you know what, you can take all your problem children as it relates to learning disabilities, disciplinary problems and so forth, and you could move them all over to the other school, but we want the same amount of money. Well, that wouldn't be very fair at all. And I agree with some of my counterparts here that these charter schools do take away from other schools so that they perform more poorly. If parents want to have their children educated on a private basis, that's their choice. Let them do it, but don't take my tax money to do it. I'm not supporting that. Imagine if your child was, if you knew a neighbor's child was going to go to a school and they were going to learn the concept of terrorism. That's what they support. You want your tax money going on that? I don't, but I'm not going to have, you want to pay for that? That's your business. Thank you.
Jessica?
So I do believe in the parental choice for education, but it should not be at the expense of our public school system. So again, advocacy, advocacy, advocacy. A lot of these things that we face are dictated from external forces, and we need to have more of a presence in advocating for our schools. Public schools are the backbone of our community. Not everyone could afford a private or religious school. The lack of oversight on charter schools is a choice that I personally would not make, but if a family were to do so, that's their choice, but it absolutely should never be at the detriment of our Sachem schools and our Sachem community.
This is our last question for tonight. It's going to go to Joe first, and then all of you, obviously. Please describe the role of your local school board member and share why you are the best person to fill this role.
School board has to make tough decisions, ones that will not hurt the children, and try to keep the community happy. I feel I can do that because of all the years I worked in the schools. I saw how money was spent, how projects were done, and I feel there's a better way. Contracts have to be overseen more, and that should do it. Thank you.
Dennis?
So again, I think we kind of hit this the whole night, all of us.
Yeah, I know.
But why I can help is, again, the communication. I'm out and about. I am definitely around a lot. I go to a lot of Sachem events, not just my own children's. I'm out of a lot of different things. I know a lot of the people in the communities, and that's what I want to be. I want to be there to talk for people, speak for people. If they come to me, I want to get back to those people. I want to answer an email. The budget, we all know that we all face fiscal challenges. Well, that's something that I'm ready to dig into and look at and try to find ways, better innovative ways to try to make some money back to Sachem. And we got to make action. We have to make decisions. And be it as it may, we have to make decisions and stick by them. Thank you.
Stephen?
Obviously, the school board is a community-based organization. I mean, we are part of the community. Everything we do at this board, if you get elected, there's nothing more than community involvement than this. It's giving your time, taking time away from your family, your children. You're doing the hard work that is very thankless. Why we're all up here is because we care about the community. We care about the children. Myself, I just feel I am very transparent. I am very good at getting back to you and responding. If I don't know an answer to your question, I'll let you know I don't know it, but I'll find it out and get back to you. It's just about communication, transparency, and helping the community grow.
Tony?
Thank you. I love this community, and I think that I can help it because of a unique skill set that I personally have. But I also think that possibly even stronger is that I like working as part of a team. I know I don't have all the answers. I don't even know all the questions yet. But I know that I've never walked into a room with people I'm working with where an idea I come in, somebody in the room couldn't make it better. And so I love the idea of working with a group of people as long as we have to have a common goal and a clarity of purpose. And then let's get together and figure it out. I don't need credit for something, or any one person on the board doesn't need credit for it, as long as the board debates ideas, figures out good answers, and presents them to the community and why they made the choice and what the options were. Thank you.
Jessica? Oh, sorry. No. Paul?
That's okay. Not a problem. why I think I'd make a good candidate for this position. I think everything I've done in my life up until this point has kind of prepared me for this. As I said, I've done advocate work before. I've represented the people that can't represent themselves, the union member who can't go up against a large corporation, community people that needed the assistance. All of that training gave me the ability to come in here, and I got into this from a very positive aspect, to be someone that can be an advocate for children who don't have a voice for themselves. And I think I could do that well. I think I was a little surprised tonight at some times of my demeanor, that I may have come off as maybe angry at some things. I hope I didn't confuse a passion with anger. That wasn't my intention. But I do feel strongly about certain things, and I'm not afraid to speak up. And I'm not afraid to agree to disagree with certain people. And I will not just give up on the things that I think are important just to make nice. I'm going to advocate what I think is good for the children, and I'm going to stick with that. And I hope that's what you're looking for. Thank you.
Jessica?
Thank you. So I plan to put as much into this district. If I have already spent a lot of time, I will continue to put more time into it to get as much out of it. Put as much into it as I hope my children get out of it. I've been inspired by many people in our district that are, volunteers, experts in their field, trustees, PTA presidents. I've learned a lot. And one thing about me is I'm tenacious, and there's nothing that I have not set my mind on that I haven't accomplished. I saw a need to feed our community members. I have a garden, a greenhouse, a grant. I'm going to always follow through with what I say. I will be a straight shooter. I don't shy away from addressing issues, but I will always do so thoughtfully. And my professional experience, I think, is really helpful in a lot of the district issues we're facing. I sleep really well at night. I'm very busy, but I sleep really well because I do the right thing, which even if it isn't the easy thing, I'm going to do the right thing, and I'll continue to do so.
Meredith?
So the technical definition is stewards of the taxpayers' money. After doing this for 6 years, I can tell you that the reality of it is, yes, you have to watch the taxpayers' money, but you're almost a mom or a dad to 11,000 plus students. You're their cheerleader, you're their voice, you're their advocate. I've done all of those really well, whether you've agreed with me or not. I think one thing that you can all say, regardless of if you like me or not, is that I don't stop, and I always speak my mind when I believe that what I feel is the right thing. I feel that a Board of Ed member should not just be up here to pander to whoever's in front of them, whether you're closing their school or you're taking away their sport. You have to make the difficult decisions. You can't just sit here and yes everybody to death. There's always going to be other people on other sides of each equation. And if you say yes to everybody, then you're just a liar. You have to stick to what your morals are. You have to make these tough decisions with your heart, and you have to, sorry, never mind.
Now we're going to enter the closing statement section of our evening, and we're going to go in reverse alphabetical order. So, Meredith, you can start us off. You'll have 2 minutes to answer.
So I've been on the board for 6 years, and I never thought that I would be doing this again. I made a decision with my husband and my family, and I came to grips with the fact that I wasn't going to run again. And there was a point when nobody was running. So I sat at a board meeting and I said, there are 3 people on this board that are not coming back, and there's not one community member willing to stand up. And then people started to stand up, which was amazing. So then I said, now it's time for somebody else to take the wheel. And then circumstances came about that honestly made me feel like it's time for me to keep going. If you guys feel that I've done a good job for the past 6 years, you'll vote me back in. If you don't, then it's all God's will. I believe that it opened up for a reason. And if that reason is to just hear me one more time, that's great. If that reason is so that I get another 3 years on this board, I would be honored to do so. I really do love this crazy job, this crazy thankless job. I say it all the time. It takes a lot out of you. You have to have extremely thick skin. But at the end of the day, the reward, the graduations, the concerts. The other night I went to, for the first time, we recognized our CTE students. I went to North and then I ran over to East, and just watching them all smile as they were given an award. Some of them aren't going to college, and some of them are going straight into the workforce. And you know what? They felt like they mattered. And that's truly what it's all about, making every community member, every student feel like they matter.
Jessica?
So I live and breathe Sachem. I think I'm a Sachem success story. I've gone on to have a very robust professional career, community involvement, and that's all I want for every single child in this district. And I will dedicate everything I have to doing it. I will be proactive, well-rounded. I welcome deferring opinions. I welcome people of various backgrounds. I think that's an asset. I will always listen to anybody and hear them out and really try to look to what they're trying to get help with, look for the information they have. Like someone had said, if I don't know the answer, just know I'm going to spend up all night on my phone reading it and researching it and trying to get it. It's part of how I'm wired. I'm a problem solver. All day long, I fix problems for other people, and I try to do it with integrity, with transparency, and with dignity, and hearing people out and giving everyone a voice to feel comfortable coming to me. And I think that this is a really good opportunity to expand my community involvement for good. I have no desire for politics. I have no desire to be any busier than I am, but I really feel that our district is amazing, and I just hope that I can help. And if I'm elected and I eventually move on with my life, I leave the district in a better place than I found it, because the decisions that we will be making, which will be tough ones over the next few years, affect so many people. And that's not something I will ever take lightly. And I will do everything I can for all kids of Sachem.
Paul?
Well, I do look for your support in the election. As I grew older and I gained more experience, I'd be talking to people that got older and had experience. I finally got an opportunity to stare into the eyes of my 2-year-old grandson and realize there's a generation coming behind me. I have a lot to share. I have a lot of knowledge, and I think I could be a great advocate for the kids that are coming up. And I'd like to spend what I've learned giving back to that generation so that they too can succeed as they go forward. My daughters all participated in Sachem. I think they did fantastic. They all moved on to complete their educations, and they're very successful in the business world, more successful than me. And I thank God for that. But I want to see that the next generation can say the same thing. And I said earlier in my opening remarks about exposure to the trades and so forth, not everyone on this planet is meant to work in an office 9 to 5. Some people are more comfortable working with their hands. And there is great opportunity now for those type of jobs. Plumbing, electrical, whatever it happens to be. They're not lousy jobs. They're good paying jobs. You can raise a family on those things. But give them that opportunity to be exposed to it, to understand, so they can make a choice which direction they'd like to go. And I'll say one last thing about that. When you have been exposed to that, you make a better homeowner. You can fix your own stuff, and you can fix up the house, and you're not afraid of it. So thank you very much, and I look for your support. Thank you.
Tony?
I'm sorry.
Thank you very much. I came into this when I saw something going on in the schools, in my daughter's school, that shocked me. And I suddenly felt this overwhelming need once I saw an opportunity, I had an overwhelming need to put myself out there and say, hey, I can do these things as a part of a team, and I would really, really like to. Supporting our kids, making sure that the decisions we make are both fiscally responsible, but are viewed as an investment in our children, and remembering that anyone who is lucky enough to serve on the board is there as an employee of the people. And I want to know that my views, or the views that the board is presenting, are representative of the views you have and the opinions that you as a larger community have. I said to my friends when we were talking about this and discussing whether or not I should run, I said, I'll do it. I'm in, but I need support. I need to hear from your kids. I need to hear from you who's at another school. I need to hear more than just my friends and my kid, because if I do this, it has to be for all of Sachem, or I am doing no good at all. I'm harming it. So, with that said, I very much hope that you want to vote for me. I will throw this out there. I am having a meet and greet tomorrow at the Irish Times Pub on Main Street in Holbrook. So if you do have any interest in asking me any other questions, please feel free. My family will be there too. There will be refreshments. Thank you very much. Have a great night. Thanks again for tonight.
Stephen?
Thank you. I could sit here and say, as a project manager, going over budgets, being proactive, figuring out best case scenarios, worst case scenarios would help me be beneficial to the board, my community involvement. But instead of going all that, I just want to take this time to thank everybody sitting up here right now for your dedication, time, and your love for the Sachem community. Whether we win, whether we lose, it doesn't go unnoticed that what everyone up here has done is amazing.
Dennis?
So couldn't agree more that it's one thing's true. We all care deeply about Sachem, care deeply about our children and their future. If elected, I want to be a strong advocate for your kids. I'll fight for the resources we need to succeed. We have to get more to the state level. I want to do that. I want to get out there. I always say outside the box because a lot of it's in the box. We need to get outside the box. We need to get more people involved. And I want to do that for the community. I'll advocate for all the kids, children, taxpayers. That's a big thing. And I'm committed to keeping taxes at cost down while maintaining quality, obviously, and within our schools and manageable class sizes. I'm ready to be a fresh new perspective. I think we need some change on the school board. I think change is good. And I'm hoping that you vote for me. Thank you.
Joe?
Thank you for this opportunity. I think we're all in agreement. We're here for the children. I'm hoping to help the board because of my years in the school district, working in the buildings, that I can help them in ways. And thank you for this. You have a good night.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. That brings our Meet the Candidate here at Sachem to a close. I thank everybody. Thank you all for attending, and thank you all for great questions. Good night.